Richard Tice has ruled out any election pact with the Conservatives at the next general election, and that makes reform almost as big a problem for Rishi Sunak as the Labour Party. But Richard Tice is quite right. He's just secured his best ever by-election result with a 13% of the vote in Wellingborough, putting the seal on Mr. Bone's disgrace and the absurdity, the ridiculousness of the Bone-led Conservative group in that area in selecting his girlfriend. Keep it in the family. It's just simply absurd. A man who drops his trousers in front of one of his assistants who he's already bullied is not fit for office. He's not fit for public duty, and anyone attached to him, particularly attached to his member, is simply out of the question. And the idea that the Conservative Party in any form, whether as a national organisation or as a small local unit, should think that that is a possible solution to their problem is in cloud cuckoo land, away with the fairies. Mr. Tice says that the Conservatives cannot be trusted at their word. We cannot reward failure with more incumbency. Tory MPs deserve to face redundancy for their woeful performance. Rishi Sunak says their plan is working. Same plan as we just slipped into recession and GDP per head has fallen for almost 2 years due to the mass low-skilled immigration policies. Well, actually, what Richard Tice doesn't recognise there, because it's not part of his mantra, is that the only reason our economic crisis is not worse is because of migration. The immigrant, the rise in immigration has actually made the GDP figures better than they would otherwise be. So the one thing we've actually got right is the very one thing that Rishi Sunak and Tice want to destroy even further. So the one thing we've got right, for example, in education, the one thing we've got right is that we have been a beacon for foreign students, both in schools and in university. And yet we're trying to destroy that, so much so that this year there is a prediction that at least one university will go bankrupt. Why? Because universities particularly rely on foreign students who pay higher fees to keep them afloat. And this is at a time when there's already a strain on the pockets of foreign students who are coming particularly from India, from Bangladesh and Pakistan. So that market is drying up, and now we want to destroy the bits of the market which are actually working. This is madness. Destroy for what? For some ideology. Why? Because we've got too many migrants locked in hotels. Why? Because the Home Office isn't doing anything. In the end, it all comes down to the indolence of people in power. Tice says, they, the Conservative Party, shall hang their head in shame, then stand aside and let Reform UK take on the grave threat of Staggergeddon. This is why we will not be doing any deals with the Tories. We stand everywhere. Instead, our intent is to work even harder over the medium term to reshape the British political landscape. For the Conservatives, there's a recognition that they're facing an election-level event. If you look at the charts and you compare the average share change at a by-election for leaders in opposition, and you compare the change between Major, the change at the time when Major and Blair were facing each other before Blair got into number 10. The change between Starmer and Sunak is worse than that. And Andrea Jenkins, as a result of that, she of the one-fingered salute, she has again called for Mr. Sunak to be replaced by a different leader. Oh, maybe her. Maybe she can start giving a middle finger to other parts of the electorate who might just be reliable at the moment but won't be under her. I mean, does she think that she is the answer to the problems? No, the answer to the problems is to stop all the ideological mudslinging, to stop all the nonsense, and to start doing something of use to the electorate. And distracting people with talk about migration. This is just wrong. It's just wrong. And the plate spinning, which is what Rishi Sunak is doing, isn't going to work in any long-term basis. Andrea Jenkins said, however difficult for fellow MPs, we have no choice. We have to change leader. We don't want to be here, but sticking heads in the sand will make matters worse. Changing the leader, changing the brand, isn't going to change the reality. And even changing a policy overhaul, which is to go even further right, Danny Kruger and Miriam Cates and the New Conservatives group, further right, get out of the European Convention on Human Rights, so do stuff on income tax, throw out all the migrants. Going further right isn't the solution. Moving towards the centre is the solution. If you see that the Labour Party is winning, move closer to where the Labour Party is. And recognise that the Conservative Party is going to lose at the next election. Get ready for opposition. And that is the only future. The only future now. The idea of cutting taxes in a budget. Get the budget in order so that we have something to pass on to the next Parliament. The job of Jeremy Hunt, the job of Rishi Sunak now, is to leave office with dignity.